Welcome back. I want to thank you for enrolling for this mathematics revision course, and I hope you're learning a lot and enjoying your lesson here on Fundo Academy. We're still on our topic. We're talking about ratio, rate, and proportion. Right now we are looking at proportion. So let's get down to business. Okay, now when two ratios are equal, they're said to be in proportion. See, proportion deals with equal ratios always. Okay, and for example, if you have your two ratios, A to B being equal to C to D, that'll be our two ratios that are proportional to each other, that are equal to each other, in other words. Right, now when you have those such two ratios in proportion or equal to each other, the values, the outer extreme values A and D, we call them extremes, and the inner two values, that is B and C, we call them means. Right, so this will help us to put forward this fact that the product of the means is equal to the product of the extremes. Right, so the product of the means is equal to the product of the extremes. So that is the product AD is equal to the product BC. So if you have your two ratios that are equal to each other, say the ratios 2 to 3, we know that the ratio 2 to 3 is the same ratio as double that is 4 to 6. Right, now these two ratios are in proportion. The product of the means, that's 3 and 4, sorry, 3 and 4 should be equal to the product of the extremes, the extreme values here, that is 2 times 6. And I think you can see here that both will give us 12. 4 times 3, 3 times 4, that's 12. 2 times 6, that's 12. So that's very true, you see. So that's what it is. We can also collect that. I hope you can remember that if we have two ratios, I mean, if we have a ratio A to B, it can be written in fraction form, A over B. So in this case we're saying is A over B being equal to C over D. So the same fact here is, or can be obtained, or can be expressed when we have our two ratios in fraction form being equal to each other, and we perform a cross multiplication where we'll be multiplying A times D multiplied by B times C, and what we're gonna get is still AD is equal to BC. Right, simply by cross multiplication. Right, so it's the same fact here being brought out in the open using these two important facts, two important situations where we've got our ratio or our ratio in fractional form. Right, so you should always remember that the product of the means is equal to the product of the extremes. Let's look at an example very quickly. In our example, we are saying that Shamiso saves $5.50 in 4 weeks. So at the same rate, how much will she save in 15 weeks? A very simple question. You may pause this video at this moment, start working on it, see if you can bring out the correct solution. Alright, we can use the method of rate that we were using in the previous lessons as method 1. If you can recall what we're saying about rate, first we can calculate the weekly rate of saving for Shamiso. Okay, so that'll be dividing. Remember we said we calculate rate by division, so in this case we'll be dividing $5.50, which I'm writing as 5.5, and that's in dollars, so that's $5.50, and that's divided by 4 weeks. So this will give us the rate per week, the rate of saving for Shamiso. So dividing 4 into 5.5, we get 1.375, and I'm putting a dollar sign right there, although you know dollars, I mean money should be to 2 decimal places, just ignoring that for a moment because we don't want to lose any value right there. So it's per week. So that is her rate of saving, 1.375 per week. So in 15 weeks now, or we can say for 15 weeks, we'll be multiplying our rate, that is 1.375 by 15. Okay, and what we get right there is 20.625 if we multiply, maybe using a calculator for faster working, and that will give us an amount of $20.63. So that is how much she will save at that same rate. That's how much she will save in 15 weeks. So we just use our knowledge on the rate to calculate the amount Shamisi will save in 15 weeks. But let us look at using the method of proportion, since we are talking about proportion. Okay, in dollars and weeks we can have a ratio here. Since she's saving $5, she saved $5.50 in 4 weeks, we can say that is 5.50 to 4. That is the ratio of her saving in dollars and weeks. And in 15 weeks she's gonna save X dollars. We don't know how much she's gonna save in 15 weeks, so that's the other ratio. These two are in proportion to each other because we are saying at the same rate, so that means that they are proportional. Okay, so remember, the product of the means is equal to the product of the extremes, right? So we'll be saying our means 4 times x should be equal to the product of our extremes, that is 5.5 times 15. Alright, and simplifying here, we'll be having 4x is equal to 5.5 times 15. What's that? So if we multiply 5.5 times 15, what we're going to get is 82.5. And if we divide both sides by 4, then our solution is going to come out as x is equal to 20.625, and this will give us in dollars $20.63. So that will be our solution right there. Again, the same answer comes up, right? So that is our proportion here. We have one more example which I want you to attempt to see if you really understand this. Okay, so in this example we are talking about exchange rate. Tongai exchanges a US dollar $140 for South African rands and obtains 2,100 rands. So at the same rate, how much will he obtain if he exchanges $95? Right, I'm gonna give you just a couple of minutes to solve this one. I want you to pause this video at this moment, start working on this one. Right, so this is the solution. We have a ratio here, we have a proportion. We are saying 140 US dollars to 2,100 rands. That is what he obtained. Okay, so this should be proportional because we are saying at the same rate. That's the key word here. This should be equal to 95 US dollars to X rands. We do not know the amount of rands that he's gonna get, and that's what we want to calculate. So we know that the product of the means should be equal to the product of the extremes, right? So we multiply 140 by X being equal to 2.1 by 95, that product right there. We simplify, we have got 140x is equal to 2.1 by 95. What we get there is 199,500, right? Just quick working right there, and divide both sides by 140. If we divide both sides by 140, what we're gonna get here is 1 and 1, dividing 140 into 140, and we'll be having 140 into 199,500. You can use your calculator for quick working or do a manual working. We get 1,425. So the value of X will be equal to 1425, which is in rands 1,425, because we want our solution in rands. He's exchanging US dollars for rands, so that would be the solution here. So that's simply what proportion is all about. Next we're going to be looking at a distinction between direct proportion and inverse proportion.